Hello and welcome back once again to After the Credits. So, got back over to the Dollar Theater. There's a couple more movies finally got put over there, which means they're probably close to being out on DVD, but I got enough time to get them in before they get there, hopefully. So today up, we saw Alice Through the Looking Glass. Really wasn't that thrilled about this one. Wasn't real impressed with Alice in Wonderland, but what the hell, I'll give it a watch anyway, right? So, what did I think of it? It was better than the first one, but it was still Alice in Wonderland, which I hate to say because I actually like the story of Alice in Wonderland. It actually used to intrigue me when I was little, just the whole concept behind it. But this is, I don't know, it's just different. It doesn't really feel like Alice in Wonderland to me. Now, it's been a long time since I read the original Alice in Wonderland. It's been a long time since I've seen the original animated Disney film. I know the first live-action film that they did with Johnny Depp and the same cast was supposed to be a continuation of the animated film. It was supposed to be Alice is older and comes back to Wonderland and doesn't remember that she'd been there before. So she re-encounters all the same characters again, but at the same time it retells the story. This one is supposed to play off of the second story in the Alice series, which was Through the Looking Glass, which, if I remember, it was actually the one where she actually fought and killed the Jabberwocky, not the first one. So why they had her fight and kill the Jabberwocky in the first movie, I don't know. Jabberwocky does make a return in this one, but through the magic of time travel, and she doesn't battle him in this one. She just kind of stands there and sees that he's there and then leaves. Because, you know, you're not supposed to alter the past if you can avoid it. So, what's this movie about? Well, we start out on a ship on the ocean being attacked by pirates. And at first I got confused. I was like, wait a minute, are we watching Peter Pan or are we watching... What are we watching? And I was like, no, I'm watching Alice Through the Looking Glass. I said, what does this have to do with pirates? Turns out Alice's father apparently used to own a cargo vessel, a ship, and used to sail it for another company. And then when he passed on, Alice became the new captain of the ship, as opposed to anyone else who's eligible to be a captain, because it was her father's ship. Okay, whatever. So, her staff kind of undermines her a little bit, like as they run away from these pirates. You know, she's like, go through here, and they're like, no, the water's too shallow, we'll crash. Then she goes, not if we go through full sail. They're like, if we go through full sail, we're going to tip over. She goes, that's the point. So like, it's impossible. And she goes, I don't like that word, blah, 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 blah. So they go full sail through the shallow water. The boat starts to tip, and it tips just enough to where the point of the ship, you know how the ship tapers down to a point, would normally cut across the sandbar and get stuck. But because they go into the shallow water at full tilt, they got just enough room to scrape by it and then cut the sail away, and it stands back upright. Where the pirate ships who are following them at full sail already, trying to catch up to them, don't turn properly, and they just run aground into the sandbar. So then Alice is kind of like, see, if you guys would listen to me, I know what I'm talking about. Never say anything's impossible. You just have to be able to imagine a way out of everything. Okay, whatever. So they get back to shore, and she goes to talk to the guy who owns the company that finances her travels and everything. Turns out that guy died, and his son is now in charge. And his son is... It's been so long since I've seen the first Alice in Wonderland live-action film. There's a guy, I think, in that she's supposed to marry, and that's who she runs away from, and then ends up in Wonderland. Anyway, she never married him, but now he's the one who's in control of the shipping company because his father passed away and he became the new head of the shipping company. He's married someone else now, so everyone's like, oh well, he's over Alice then. Well, when Alice comes back, just out of spite for him not marrying him, she goes, well, we're not going to finance any more of your voyages. Your mother ran into some financial trouble while you were gone. She leveraged the house, and if you want to get her out of the hole that she's in, you'll have to leverage the boat. So basically, we're going to own your boat. And Alice is like, over my dead body, and her mother's like, Alice, sometimes you have to step back and put all the childish things away and just realize, you have to live your life a certain way. And she goes, believe me, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to be like you or any of these other people. I'm going to be Alice. So she's kind of pissed off at everyone, walks away, and she sees used to be this hookah smoking caterpillar who's now the butterfly. Fortunately, a very small use of Alan Rickman. He passed away around that time. I don't know if he was still working on this film when he passed away, and that's why they weren't able to use him anymore, if they had just enough footage to use him for a certain amount, and then just not mention him again. She's following this little butterfly around, and it leads her to the looking glass. It flies through the looking glass, and she goes, oh, there's a portal. So she follows him through the portal, back into Wonderland, and now he's like full size because she shrinks when she goes through the portal. And, he's like, you need to go and catch up with everyone. There's something going on you need to address. She goes, okay, well, where is everyone? He says, at the Hatter's house. That's the last we see of him. We don't see him again at the end of the movie, nothing like that. So I'm thinking they had just enough film of that, and then they're like, well, we can write him out of the rest. We don't really, it's not really super important that he be there. But at the same time, it would have been nice to see him at least towards the ending. But if he died during the making of this, that's probably why we don't. So she gets to where everyone's at the Hatter's house for the tea party, and everyone says the Hatter's sick. He won't talk to anyone, blah, blah, blah. So she goes in and sees the Hatter. The Hatter says, are you really Alice? Because only Alice will believe me if I tell her what's going on. She goes, yes, I'm really Alice. So he tells her what's going on, and she struggles to believe him. She wants to believe him, but at the same time, she says that it's impossible for what he thinks is going on to actually be going on. Again, she's using the word impossible, something she doesn't like. So the Hatter goes, you're not my Alice. My Alice wouldn't say something's impossible. So he shoos her away, and then she's talking to everyone, and they decide that the only way to be sure of if what Hatter says is going on is actually going on is to go back in time and see if the event actually took place. Okay, so Alice goes to meet Time, who's a person, played by Sacha Baron Cohen, to borrow a sphere that'll let her travel through time. But it turns out this sphere actually powers all of time. It's what keeps time in check. It runs this giant clock that if the clock stops, that's it. So she goes to see Time. He doesn't want to help her, even though he basically gives her the answer right from the start if you're really paying attention. He's not willing to help her, so he says, see yourself out. So as she's leaving, she kind of sneaks around, grabs the sphere because she knows where it's at, and takes off anyway. So Time goes after her, and she goes back to all these different events and sees certain things that are happening. She tries to go back to the day that everything actually happened to just see that from the start, and the time sphere kind of bounces off of it, like you're not ready to see that yet, and takes her on a different journey. So then she goes on through that timeline, and then she realizes, well, maybe if I go back further, I can prevent everything from ever happening because of something she finds out in that timeline. So she goes back again to the other timeline, tries to prevent something from happening. It happens anyway. She realizes you can't change the past. Or something Time had actually told her at one point was, you can't change the past, you can only hope to learn from it. So at this point, Alice can't stop the events that happen. So she realizes he was right, I can't change the past. And then she notices something else going on, and she goes, but I can learn from it. So she learns what she needs to learn. Now she goes back through time. Time catches up with her at one point. He's like, give it back, I'm dying, everything is dying, I need the sphere back. She goes, I have one more trip I have to make, and then I promise I'll give it back to you. So she goes back. Now she can finally go to the day where everything happened and try to figure out if the Hatter's theory is right or not. She finds out it is. Spoiler. I'm not going to tell you what his theory was, because you'll have to see the movie for that. He was right, obviously, because it's a Disney film. No, it was before a Disney film. I'm not sure how much of this is actually in the book. Like I said, it's been so long since I read any of this stuff. So she finds out that what he said is true, so now she's got to go back and find out what happened after this event. So she goes to return the sphere to Time, and right as she's about to give it back, the Red Queen shows up and she steals it, because she's been dating Time for a while, trying to get her hands on this because she wants to go back and change her past. So she steals it from Time. She goes back into the past. Time sends Alice after her because Time is dying because the sphere is gone. And he goes, whatever you do, don't let her see her past self. It'll destroy history. So of course she goes back in time and tries to interact with herself, and everything's dying. So Alice is now back into the time sphere, trying to outrun the decay of time, get back to the center point of time, back to Time's castle, and return the sphere. Does she make it? Does she not? Like I said, it's a Disney film. Of course she does. But just barely, as always. There's a little bit of tension there, so spoiler by the way. She makes it back. Everything's restored. The Red Queen and the White Queen have it out and make peace, sort of, I guess. There's still kind of sibling rivalry thing going on there, but they're getting along for a short time at least. I guess the Red Queen's still kind of a spoiled brat, but she's not evil anymore, at least for now. Yeah, so then Alice goes back to the real world, and she runs into her mother, who's about to sell off the boat, and she goes, well, it's not really my mother's boat to sell, it's mine, but yeah, I'll go ahead and sell it to get my mother out of debt. At this point, her mother kind of looks at her and says, no, Alice, you won't. I learned something from you today, blah, blah, blah. And they go off, and I don't know where they got the money, but they start their own shipping company with the one boat, and go off and live their lives happily ever after, I guess, until the next movie. So yeah, it's kind of odd. Like I said, I'm not sure how close it is to what's actually goes on in the actual Through the Looking Glass book, because I don't remember any of that stuff. But yeah, that's basically the movie. What would I give it as far as a star rating? I said I liked it better than the first one, but at the same time, the characters, the problem with this film is the people in it, when they're trying to act whimsical and Alice in Wonderland-y, do it oddly. Like the White Queen, she's supposed to be all kind of fluttery and but she does it weird. She's just kind of fluttering around like that. And it's just so forced. And even Johnny Depp's Hatter, he's trying to be, I'm the Hatter, I'm that, whatever. But he's just kind of oh, hi, I'm Johnny Depp, playing the same character that I play in everything else, except now I have a lift. Or, well, the Captain Jack Sparrow type of thing, I should say. Not every character, because Johnny Depp does have a lot of range. He is one of my favorite actors. But yeah, it's just, everything seems really forced and telegraphed with the whimsy of this. And that's what I don't like. That's what I didn't like about the first one. That's what I don't like about this one. Overall, this one is a better movie than the first one, though. So if you like the first one, check it out. Like I said, it's probably going to be on DVD very soon because it is at the Dollar Theater now. But, yeah, if you like the first one, you'll probably like this one. I liked it better than the first one. It actually took me a while to actually remember what was going on in the first one because it's been so long since I've seen it. But, yeah, as far as a star rating, give it a 3, right down the middle. Like I said, it was better, but it still had its problems. I don't remember what I rated the first one, so yeah, we're going to give it a 3. Yeah, that's pretty much it. If you like the first one, you'll like this one. Check it out. Or don't. It's up to you. But, yeah. So I rambled long enough. That is it for this episode. Again, as always, thank you guys for watching. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, share the video. Links are down there in the description and up there in the corner. And until next time, as always, we'll see you after the credits.